and welcome to Home with Sarah Jane. As you can see, I am still filming on the floor because my table is still broken. So, I am going to share a book haul. I know I was saying I wasn't going to be buying books anymore, that I was going to take it easy, but then I went to a used bookstore and their books were only 50 cents to $1. So I bought books. I did buy children's books, and then I bought a few books for me, and I actually picked up a few books for my younger brother. He's in his 20s, but you know, younger than me. So I did pick up some books for him that I thought he'd like as well. So let's just jump right into it. The first book I bought is called The Great Wall of China. I've never read it before, but it looked really interesting, and I really did enjoy the pictures. It's in black, white, and like this red. And I just thought that it was a really nice looking book. I also picked up The Story of Money. So this seemed interesting. It talks about, you know, why a sliver of yellow metal is worth more than a big loaf of bread. Things like that. I haven't read through the whole thing, but I kind of skimmed through it. And it looks pretty interesting. I will squeeze this in somewhere. I'm not sure where, but I will squeeze this in sometime during the school year to just talk about the story of money. Okay, the next one is You Wouldn't Want to Be a... Is it Sumerian? You tell me. You wouldn't want to be a now I can't even say it. You wouldn't want to be a Sumerian slave, a life of hard labor you'd rather avoid. We have a few of these books. I think I have the like Pyramid Builder, and there was another one. I think it was like a Roman gladiator. Was that Roman? Yes. A gladiator. You would want to be a gladiator. But my kids enjoyed these ones, and they do have a lot of information in them. So I did pick this one up. It's kind of like the Who Was series. When I see a Who Was, I just pick it up because I would like the whole collection. Same with this one. You know, if I see it, I don't have it, I usually buy it. And again, it's just a lot of information in here. I mean, but seriously, ask me when I'm going to use this. Who knows? I don't know when. Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to use this book, but I'm going to use it eventually, so I bought it. The next one I bought is Katie the Cat Sitter. This one, again, if you look, most of these books were just purchased on a whim. So like this one I bought because it's a graphic novel and it talked about cats. So I bought it because my kids like cats and they like graphic novels. But this one, apparently this little girl has to... Let me see, it says she has to like cat sit for one of her neighbors, but the neighbor has 217 cats. So I just thought it sounds silly. I thought it could be just a quick read for my older daughter and a nice little read for my younger daughter. And then I picked up Frindle. We've never ever read this, and I'm always hearing people talking about Frindle. So I thought that this would just be a nice little book. It's pretty short, so we can read this fast. I just thought this would be a nice thing to add to our collection of books. And sometimes I get a little crazy when it comes to planning our homeschool year, and sometimes I don't realize that I am planning really serious topics sometimes, or history could be kind of dark, and when we're learning about certain things that aren't that great, I still teach them, but I like to throw in something kind of silly too, so that it's just not all dark and gloomy. And I thought that this book, again, I've never read it, so let's hope so, I thought that this book would be something good to throw in the middle of some of those really dark times. Another one that I purchased is The Chocolate Touch. Again, we haven't read this one either, and this one is just basically about a kid that loves chocolate. It says he'll eat it any hour of the day. He doesn't care if he ruins his appetite. He thinks chocolate is better than any other food. Sounds like me and my two daughters, so I just thought that we could read this one as well. Again, on a whim, I bought Daniel Boone, Young Hunter and Tracker. We actually already learned about Daniel Boone, but for some reason I felt I needed to buy this book. Seems like a good read. I know that these ones usually have a lot of great information in them, so Daniel Boone. Now this one, the little lady at the bookstore, she was so sweet, and she said that she used to read this to her grandkids all the time and that they loved it, so of course I had to buy it. It's Please Try to Remember the 1st of October. So we actually already read this one a couple of times since I purchased it. I think I bought this like, I don't know, 3 days ago when I went. And we read it a couple times. It's really cute. It's just silly. You know, it's rhyming and, you know, it's just really silly. But now I feel like when my daughter asks me for something that I feel like I don't want to purchase, I'm going to be like, you could wait till the 1st of October. I also picked up Bartholomew and I don't know how to say this. I think it's Oobleck. I've never read this book. I do not know what it's even about. It just says that it has some clever rhymes and wit in it. So I just picked it up because it's a Dr. Seuss book. We love Dr. Seuss. We did a whole unit. No, we did a unit study. We did a whole unit study on Dr. Seuss last year, and we really enjoyed it. So I just try and pick up more books as I can. But again, I do not know what this book is about. I bought it because it said Dr. Seuss. Another book that I picked up is called The Great Gilly Hopkins. Now, I could have swore there was a movie with this, but I'm not sure. I don't remember what it's about. We never read it. It's 11-year-old Gilly Hopkins is famous for being brash, is that how you say it? Brilliant and completely unmanageable. None of her foster homes has been able to tame her. So, I mean, it seems silly but serious, and I just thought that this might be good for maybe booking a movie or something like that. You know, this year, all of our read out louds in the morning are going to be themed on a book and then a movie, and I could have swore that this was a movie. I've never watched it, never read the story. We'll see. Okay, now this one I don't even know why I bought it. This one is On the Far Side of the Mountain. We started reading My Side of the Mountain, and my kids just could not get into it. I was fine with it. Like, I thought the book was perfectly fine. Like, I was enjoying it, but my kids didn't. So we're going to probably try and read My Side of the Mountain in another year or two and just see if we, you know, can get into it again. But I picked up the next one, and apparently we don't like the first one. Well, I mean, I did, but we couldn't even get through the first one, and I still bought the second one. So okay, and again, like I was saying earlier, if I ever see a Who Was book I don't have, I'm going to pick it up. So I picked up Who is Judy Blume. Never read it. I know that she's an author, but that is about it. That's all I really know. So, I mean, I like these Who Was books for just, you know, a quick, a brief, like, biography of a person or a time frame or a place. Now, this one I thought was a win. This one is the Usborne Illustrated Stories from the Greek Myths. This one was only 50 cents. It's an Usborne book. It's in really good condition. And it has a whole bunch of Greek myths throughout this book. My kids really love reading Greek myths. They love a lot of the, like, Viking, is it legends or myths? I don't know. They call it the same thing. But anyway, my kids really like learning about myths and legends. So when I seen this one, I had to get it for 50 cents in, like, new condition. Couldn't pass that up. I'm trying to justify it. If you're keep on hearing me say I couldn't pass that up, it's me trying to justify that I bought another book. And then we also like these classic starts. Now, my oldest daughter reads the like regular book, not the one that's, you know, retold for kids. But my youngest daughter is still reading some of these classics. So again, she prefers graphic novels, but these books aren't too bad. If you look at the writing in here, it's not like super small. Why is it so dark? There we go. It's not like super small writing. So my daughter can still get through some of these without feeling like it's too much. But this is just a classic starts, A Little Princess. Again, I might use it for maybe booking a movie, but my oldest daughter is reading this book this year too, so we'll see. We will have to see. The next thing that I purchased is The Magic School Bus Going Batty, a book about bats. So this one, I'm doing a spooky morning basket for October, you know, spoiler alert. So I just wanted to pick up a few more little books for that. And I really like The Magic School Bus. I kind of feel like my kids are a little bit beyond this, but I still want to read it, so I picked it up. So the next one I picked up is Knights in Shining Armor. This I'm going to be using in our medieval morning basket. We have not read this one yet. I just picked it up because it said Knights in Shining Armor, and it went with my theme. So that's how I purchased this one. And then the last thing that I bought for my kids, it's kind of for me and the kids, it's a critical thinking book. It's called You Decide, Applying the Bill of Rights to Real Cases. This one I thought looked really interesting. This one was $1 when I purchased it, but you go through these cases and you have to apply the Bill of Rights to these cases and really just have a good conversation and talk about it. So I just thought that this one seemed like a lot of fun. But this one is a little bit more like a workbook, and I probably won't be using this until my youngest, who's in 5th grade now, is actually closer to like 7th or 8th grade. So this book is just something I'm going to hang on to until, you know, I get to that grade with her. Okay, now I'm going to share the books that I bought that I thought my brother would like. And I picked up Mars Attacks, War Dogs of the Golden, is it Horde? So I picked that one up. And then I also picked up Mars Attacks, Martian Death Trap. I didn't know that these even existed. I only knew of the movie Mars Attacks, but I picked these up because my brother kind of likes that kind of stuff. And then I also picked him up these Full Metal Alchemist books. They're not in order. It's like book 11, 12, 13, 14, and 17. But when I picked them up, they were only a couple of, I think I paid $1 per book for these. I can't remember if I think I paid $1 for these. But I picked up these ones for him. I know that he watched I'm just going to call it a show. I think it's a show. And he liked it. So I started picking up these books for him. My brother does really enjoy reading. But again, these are out of order. And when I was looking up what the prices were on these books were like $10 a book, and I got them for like $1. So that's why I still bought them even out of order. And now these books are for me. So the first book I picked up for me is called The History of Making Books. I'm actually going to use this in our homeschool. I'm probably going to put it in our medieval morning basket, and it just goes over how books were made throughout history, and I thought it looked really, really interesting. And again, this was, I think, at most $1. It was either 50 cents or $1 when I purchased it. And it just looked like a really interesting read. Now, some more books for me. I picked up The Next Person You Meet in Heaven. This I actually picked up for me and my brother. My brother has also read The 5 People You Meet in Heaven. And he's the one that told me about this book. So when I seen it at the used bookstore, I had to pick it up because I know I'll be reading it and so will he. And then I picked up Still Me. This is the 3rd book in the Me Before You series. There is a movie on the first one, and I already have the first 2 books, but this is the last one to go in that series. I started reading this book. I had borrowed it from the library at one point. I started reading it. I got like halfway through and then had to return it. And then I never, it's my sister's dog. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so I started reading this and then I had to return it, and I never finished it. So when I seen it for $1, I was like, okay, I'll just buy it, and maybe one of these years I'll finish it. The next one was super interesting to me. I don't know when I'll have time to read it, but I will eventually. It's called Operation Paperclip, the secret intelligence program that brought Nazi scientists to America. I read pretty much everything. I really enjoy historical fiction, and then, you know, I enjoy a lot of nonfiction books as well, but this one just seemed really interesting, something that would really catch my attention, so I picked this one up. And then this is the one I'm actually reading right now, but I picked this one up. This one was $1. Yeah, this one was $1. It's called The Body Keeps a Score, Brain, Mind, and Body in the Healing of Trauma. I just thought that this seemed really interesting. When I was in high school, I started taking like some psychology classes and things like that, and then never really furthered anything in it. It was more of like an interest and hobby, I guess you can say. But when I heard about this book, I really, really wanted to read it. And when I seen it for only $1, I did pick it up. I gotta say though, this book, it's pretty serious. Like, I started reading it and I was just like, oh, that's sad. Oh, that's super sad. Oh, that's extra sad. So this one is a little bit difficult to read for me, but I'm actually really enjoying it still. But yeah. So anyway, those are all of the used books that I just recently purchased. Thank you so much for stopping by. You have a great day. Bye.